guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a flashlight video for you. Today we have a light that is one of my favorites. You know, this time of year I find this light really shines, and that's because it is so dark so much of the time. So here where I am in Canada, it is dark by 5 o'clock usually this time of year. So, you know, we're in kind of the early part of January. We're a couple weeks out from the winter solstice. So it's worse before, like, right there in the middle of December, it's usually dark by 4:30. This time, we're starting to see, it's starting to creep back up a little bit, but it's still dark a predominant amount of the day. And so if you're doing anything outside of normal working hours, 9 to 5, you're pretty much doing it in darkness. And for that reason, I like, or for that time of year, for that season, I guess, I really like something that's got a little more brightness, a little more battery life, a little more ability than, my Olight Mini, or even than the Arcveld. And where I find this really shines is, where I find this is really good, yes, pun intended, where I find this is really good is that it carries about like the Arcveld. That is, it's really comfortable in pocket, not that easy to notice, carried around no problem for prolonged periods of time. And these two have a very similar form factor, and yet you've got a whole lot more ability. So normally this time of year, I would be switching for something like this. And I still do carry this, by the way, because I just enjoy it. Perhaps even something like this. If you're walking the dog, this is the time of year where, if you're walking the dog before work, let's say, you're going to need a light. You're going to need it pretty well the whole time that you're outside. Especially, I live kind of out in the country, and where we walk the dog is, in some trails that are behind our house. Well, there's no street lights out there. You're just in the woods and you can't see a thing. And so you've got to have a light that will at least perform the duties that you need. And so, these are the kind of, level of light that you're going to be dealing with. But as you can see, these aren't the easiest to carry form factor. All right. Again, I'm not suggesting that I never use these anymore, but they're more occasional use, where this light is unique in that it can be your full EDC light. Like, it's fine for all the time. And for that reason, I really like this. It's a little over 5 inches long. It's about an inch wide, about 5/8 of an inch thick, almost 3/4, depending on, when you get up here by the screen, 4.37 ounces. So, not that onerous to carry at all. And yet you've got 3000 lumens on turbo, 220 meters of throw, which is pretty darn good. All right. Let me do a quick run through on the functionality. We'll bring in some of those other lights and talk a little bit about them as well. So first of all, let me just show you the back here. On the tail of this light, we have 2 buttons. Okay. One is a flush button that you sort of have to intentionally push. One is, a fully extruded button. Now, both of these have a half push and a full push. So the flat button, if the light is off, not doing anything, half a push is going to get you turbo. A full push is going to get you strobe. Okay. On the small button, full push is going to turn the light on. All right. And if you can take a look there on the screen, you'll see that you get runtime and level right there every time you switch. So 15 lumens, 65 lumens, 200 lumen, 1000 lumen. And 1000 lumens is the actual regular performance on the light, which, as far as I'm concerned, is pretty stinking impressive. And you can see each time it's going to give you a runtime there, and then the screen's going to go back to blank. All right, so that's how the functionality is. Again, a full push is going to shut that back off. Now, if the light is on, I guess I should demonstrate this. If the light is on, the flush button still functions the same way. It'll take you straight to turbo with a half push, and then a full push will take you right into strobe. All right. So that's a quick rundown of the features. Now it does have a memory feature, so it'll come back on in the same setting you were using it in before. It also has a lockout feature. Now I find, because of the way I carry this, right, it clips into the pocket with this fairly effective clip. I don't find I get the button pushed very often. Not that any of the lights that I have these days really struggle with that, but this one's particularly good. However, if you're going to put it in pocket, or if you're going to put it in a backpack pocket with a bunch of other stuff that's going to, you know, jostle around, you may want to lock this. All right. And in order to do that, we're just going to hold the power button down, and eventually you're going to see there we go. See the lock show up? Now unlock is going to be a half press on the button and then a full press. And you're going to see, well, I don't know why it's not cooperating right now, but there we go. Perfect. And so to relock it, again, half press, full press, locked level 1. Okay. Now in level 1, your flush button is still going to work. All right, that's level 1. Go to a half press and then a full press and hold. That's going to unlock it. All right, half press, full press. There, I'm going to hold it. Level 1, level 2. Okay, so in level 2, nothing works. So there's the half and full press, half and full press. Okay, now if you do a half press and a full press and hold, that's going to unlock. Okay, and I can't remember, I may have just said hold this. Let me turn the light on. So holding this all by itself, we'll put it into lock. That's when the light is on. So you can see now, see I'm not getting anything. And again, half press, full press, hold, and that lock is going to come off. All right. So thought I'd give you a quick rundown of the functionality there. Now, before we get to a conclusion, let me bring in a couple of comparisons. Now, I want to bring these in because you're going to see all these lights, and I may grab a couple more before I go outside. These lights are pretty similar in terms of price point, and they're pretty similar in terms of performance. Now, this guy, because of the deeper bezel there, is going to have a longer throw. All right, 500 meter throw. We'll be able to see that. This is going to have a few less lumens, right, than the 3000 on this guy. But these are, you know, comparable, at least in my mind. And yet, despite the fact that these cost similar amounts, despite the fact that they have similar amounts of light output, again, this is pretty darn easy to carry, which is where I think this really wins, with the exception of, I don't know, search and rescue, you know, some application where you need to see across a field or something like that. You'll see when we go outside and do the beam comparison that there may be other lights that are more appropriate for your use. However, as an EDC or as a tactical light, I do think this performs very well, largely because it's just so easy to carry. And in this fairly slim, comfortable form factor, delivers a huge amount of performance. So while we're talking about this did come from Thunderbird Gear. Go over there and check out Steve's selection of lights. There's quite a few of them over there. I plan to get a pineapple as well from Thunderbird Gear. But if you don't have any other lights, I think this is a great single light option because it can just do all the stuff. Okay, and so that's my conclusion here is, one, a ton of power in a very comfortable form factor, and two, because of that comfortable form factor, I would submit to you that this could be your single one and only EDC light. The only drawback to that is when it dies, okay, you're going to be out of commission for a short time because the charging is built in. All right, so that means if you're super prepared type of guy, you know, you're gonna have to buy 2 of these. Go by the old saying that one is none. For me, because I've got other lights, all right, I don't worry about that because, you know, I can easily switch out to another light if I really need a light and this one is charging at that moment. All right. The other part of the other, I guess, side discussion here that I ought to bring up is I have switched largely now. Okay, I've still got my baton around from a few years ago, but I don't have very many lights left that require battery changes. I just find it's a pain in the neck. Now, there is value in having that light immediately available. That is, you know, your light goes down, you know, it needs to be recharged battery, but you've got 3 or 4 extra batteries there for backup. So boom, perfect. Switch it out and you're right back up to full functionality. I get that. That's fast. That's easy. That's convenient. It's less convenient if you're out and this is the only light you've got with you and now it dies. That's going to be a pain in the neck because you've got to charge it, either charge it somewhere while you're out or wait till you get back till you have a light again. For me, that never happens because I have an extra light somewhere all the time and I would just switch to my extra light. And so for me, not an issue. Again, I'm back to this could be your only EDC light. And the one drawback I see for that particular role is the situation I'm describing right now where you have no other lights. Hey guys, Kevin Cleary here. We are outside in the field behind my house in the dark. I just want to show you a couple of beam shots of the Nitecore EDC 27. I'll compare that to the Ace Beam E70 and the Olight Warrior 2 and just try to give you an idea of how this light performs compared to a couple of pretty common lights that hopefully you've seen before. So let me turn this on. There we go. And we are going to work through the levels here now. I'm actually in level 2. So I'm going to have to work up. So there's 200 lumens. Hold on. There we go. There's 1,000 lumens. And if we hit the turbo button, that's going to go up to 3,000 in strobe. Or 3,000 first, sorry. And then there's strobe. Okay, so let me shut that off. That should give you a pretty good idea. You know, you can see it's a fairly floody light and does have a lot of brightness. It's really illuminating a lot of this field, obviously beyond even what the field of the camera can pick up there. All right, I'm going to switch this to the Olight now and just give you a quick rundown of the Olight. So I'm going to drop the Olight straight into turbo, so you're getting 2,000 lumens there. All right. And hold on, whoops, there we go. So you can see the EDC 27 is a little floodier in its turbo mode compared to the Olight right there, which has a bit more of a hot spot, but still pretty floody. And then finally, let me grab the Ace Beam. There we go, put it all the way up to turbo as well. And it's kind of somewhere in between. It's definitely quite floody, but the overall flood the hot spot is maybe, or the flood is a little more precise. See if I can get the edges there in the camera for you. Okay, so hopefully that gives you guys a good idea of how that looks compared to some other lights. Now I just want to get the Nitecore out and let you quickly see it work through its modes. Okay, so there we are down at 15 lumens, 65 lumens, there's 200 lumens, and it'll be at 1,000 here in 1 second. So there's 1,000. All right, guys, just wanted to throw a couple of those beam shots in to give you an idea of what we're working with. We'll see you back on the tabletop. All right, so those are my overall thoughts on the Nitecore EDC 27. I really, really like this light. I find myself, especially this time of year, carrying it almost every day just because it's always dark. So I find myself in greater need of a light with greater frequency. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to go check these out over at Thunderbird Gear. Don't forget to check those other channel sponsors. It's a big, big help to me when you use that discount code Sharp Stuff over at White Mountain Knives. I know there are issues right now with the border. There may be some signs that things are improving. I'll make a follow-up video on that here in the not too distant future. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will talk to you soon.